Welcome to your BIPOC meditation with me, Indie. Pronouns she and her, based in Brighton in the UK on the southern coast. And so today I'm coming with bringing and creating the space that we have for all of us that have a thread of similarity in our experiences as people of the global majority. And how much solace, comfort there can be in community and in supporting one another. And sharing from an author that I come back to time and time again. This particular one is All About Love from Bell Hooks. And talking about love and communion, community, being together, being with others. But before we start to unfold that, take a moment to get comfortable in your seat. Take a moment to add some softness. Either to be seated upright, stable in the sit bones, if your feet reach the ground, let your feet be planted. Or if you're laying down, let the back of the body rest. And as you're here, starting to now let the body settle into the seat. And if it feels comfortable at any point, start to send your gaze downwards or close down eyes. Once you're here, start to bring the awareness all the way from the outside and start to gather it back. Let your attention, wherever it is scattered outside of you, bring it back to you. And let it linger now just outside of you. And as it's here, start to notice one by one any sounds around you. Notice these sounds without exploring them any further than acknowledging them. And as you acknowledge, notice, and let go, start to turn that awareness and attention now inwards. To be with the physical body. To notice sensation, movement, aliveness. Letting these sensations, movements, or anything else you notice, let them go as they come into your awareness, as the physical body finds more stillness. Turn that attention now even further inwards to be with your breath, exactly as it is now, without any change. Instead, watching the breath. Letting the breath be free from any holding or gripping. Soften any muscles that might be holding it. Let it expand as freely as it wants. Let it come back as it inevitably will, completely soften. The knowing of your body, that there's breath, that there is life, that there is energy. Be with the breath, come back to the breath. And as you're here now, bringing the breath now back along with the body. Bringing both back into your space, getting a sense of the immediate space around you. That you're here now. We're here and we're here now. Bringing that understanding of what you might think of what do you think of when we think of the we? How does the I come along with the we? When there is more of us, what does that add? Especially when there is a thread of similarity, a thread of experience. Something to tie us together. And where those first ties that we come to understand, where do they come from? Where do they lie? Those ties that tell you that, yes, this person is my community. This place has my community. This area or part of the world makes up part of my community. And what, if any, beliefs have we come to have around what community support networks look like and feel like for us? This can be in any context. Where this idea of love can also land within our communities. And what Bell Hooks shares is that communities sustain life, not nuclear families or the couple, and certainly not the rugged individualist. There is no better place to learn the art of loving than in community. And maybe the idea of what that looks like has changed over time. And it certainly was different for our parents, parents, extended family. And what strikes you about that difference? How much importance is given, or the understanding or belief of how much importance should be given to those that are outside your immediate blood and blood family? Because community can look like a lot of different things. There's another truth that Bell Hooks shares that maybe feels the same for most of us. That we are all born into the world of community. Rarely, if ever, does a child come into the world in isolation with only one or two onlookers. Children are born into a world surrounded by the possibility of communities. And that can include family, doctors, nurses, even admiring strangers. And maybe this age-old belief in our society highlights the nuclear family. and many of the structures that we live within right now that we know very well. Capitalism, patriarchy. Together, they are structures of domination and have worked over time to undermine and destroy this idea of having extended kin. Kind of cuts us off from that further idea. And maybe to some sense, as people of the global majority, that might not apply to us sometimes. Community can mean something so different for us. Our extended family are seen as family, as important, as a support. It depends on what your experience of that might be. Of course, in some ways it's positive, but in other ways, it depends on your experience. And for some of us, if we don't experience love within our family, extended families, which is usually the first site of community for us, the other place where we start to develop a particular love is in friendship. Since we choose our friends, many of us from childhood on into adulthood have looked to friends for the care, respect, knowledge, and all around nurturance of our growth that we did not find in family. And of course, in those relationships, maybe there's a more open understanding, an honesty that we might not find anywhere else. A strength. And many of us have been socialized to understand that we will either find love in our first family or in our second family that forms through romantic couplings, and particularly those that lead to more lifelong bonds. And sometimes, depending on your experience, friendship can be emphasized as not being as important as your blood family. But that is exactly where many of us might have our first glimpse of truly redemptive love and caring community. It might take some time to find that, and it would change over the course of our lives. And that's okay. Maybe it's by assessing, understanding where we place our values and importance on various relationships and why. For you a few moments to let anything that is there, that is talking to you, that is unfolding for you, to be here. If you want to remember it, maybe a journal or a quick scribble down, depending on what feels most supportive to you now. Or maybe it's to bring those thoughts back to yourself and come back into the breath. Bringing all of those back to you, coming back to your breath, back to the body. As everything starts to quieten down, let your breath settle. Let the body be still. Bring awareness back into the body and eventually into your immediate space. And as you're here, I'll start to close this container of our practice with one Omkara. You can listen or you can join if you'd like to. Steadying the breath. Taking an inhale for Om, if that's where you are. Om. Sending gratitude to the many teachers, wisdom keepers, guides of this practice that we benefit from so deeply. Sending gratitude also to the stewards of the land that we reside on. And extending that gratitude to yourself for your presence and dedication today. Long and smooth breath in and back out. Start to bring movement back into your body, maybe through hands and feet. Back, shoulders and neck. Making those small movements bigger. Bring yourself back into your space. And if the eyes are closed, let the head drop slightly. Open the eyes slowly. Take in color, shape, light. Before bringing your gaze up, maybe you want to slowly bring yourself up if you are laying down. Find your seat once again. Come back into your space, into this space, and once again together.